Hey everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalano with you tonight. Dan Fates feeling a little under the weather. Jenna got me the assignment to talk a little bit about the 53-man roster as the Bills make the cut. So we're going to talk about that in a moment. Please, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Buffalo Plus channel. We thank everybody who has done that up to this point as we get set for the start of the regular season coming up soon, a week from Thursday. So here we go. Let's look at the Bills' cuts and the roster moves that they made. And I think we'll start with the most important thing they did because it's the one thing that's about one of the most valuable players, certainly on the defensive side, and it's Tre'Davious White. And I don't think anybody should be surprised that the Bills put him on the PUP reserve list, and we know what that means. It's 4 games minimum that he's going to miss to start the year, and we'd seen this trending in that direction going up to both in Orchard Park and camp at St. John Fisher in Rochester. We saw Trey working out. We saw him appear to be getting healthier, but we never saw him in uniform, never saw him on the field. That hasn't happened yet. And until he gets to that point, you can't make a real determination when that knee is healthy, when he is feeling ready to go, when the doctors give him the okay that he would go out and be ready to play. So he's going to miss at least the first 4 games. That's when he's eligible to come back off the PUP list. So it's a tough 4 to miss right off the beginning of the year, and then it doesn't get easier with the Steelers and then the Packers. That's what you have. Now, you can also look at it another way. You want Trey White to be healthy. You want him to be ready. So it's not overstating it to say the Bills' plan could be to bring him back, let him start to practice. It's 2 more weeks then, and then the bye week. So it's not impossible to think that Trey White could sit out the first 6 games, then have the bye week, and then be ready to go. That's still 11 more regular season games and then a playoff run. They're going to miss him out there, especially with the teams, the way they can play starting the season. But what you want is Trey White ready to go when the games matter the most, and that's the later part of the year. So not a big surprise there what they did. The other move they made was O.J. Howard getting cut, and we've been telling you about it the whole time we've been at camp. He just did not look like the kind of player that they thought they were getting when they signed him to that deal. So O.J. Howard, a veteran, it's costing him money against the cap. That's the issue here. I think they probably looked into trying to make a deal and save some of that cap space. But in the end, the idea was that they were not going to keep a player just because of a bigger cap hit and keep him on the roster and then talk about having him active for the games if they didn't think he was the right guy. So the Bills make that move and O.J. Howard gets released. And now as you look down the rest of the list, the guy everybody had been talking about leading into it at wide receiver is Isaiah Hodgins. And he's been released. And I don't think it's a surprise. I think special teams is still the priority. And Dan Fates made the point of saying if you're looking at your 6th wide receiver to be a pass catcher in the offense for this coming season, that means they've got some serious problems. I don't think that is what they were thinking about. I think they believe Jake Kumerow will be active on game day and playing special teams. Isaiah not there at that level yet to be active for game day. So this is what you're talking about, a wide receiver that's going to play and be ready. And so Hodgins gets cut. Now within 24 hours, we'll see if anybody claims him, and that can happen. And if that is the case and then he gets claimed, then he'll end up being on somebody else's roster. If not, I think there's a very good chance that the Bills look to bring Hodgins back to the practice squad. But again, you know where they are at the wide receiver position and they like what he's done, I don't think it's that big of a concern for them to put him out to waivers. Can they bring him back? Yes. They could be looking for another player on a waiver wire that they could put on the practice squad, but I think they like a lot of what Hodgins has done, so they let him go. Let's see where we are 24 hours from now. I know there's always a lot of thought that guys that perform well in the preseason, you think they're going to get picked up right away. Well, every other team is dealing with roster situations. Just about every other team has a wide receiver they like that they release, that they want to get back. It doesn't mean somebody won't pick up Isaiah. It does mean that it's no guarantee that that will happen. And then I would say the guy who became the darling of the preseason, Raheem Blackshear, and look, he played really well. But folks, he's a running back, and he would not be active on game days. And I think they like what they saw in him, some explosiveness. I saw some people putting out things about Zach Moss in a trade. I didn't see that happening at all. I think they like what Zach Moss brings to them. I think what they like what Zach Moss brings to the roster in 2022. In short yardage, he's a good pass protector, all of those things. So I didn't think he was going to be going anywhere. Blackshear now becomes that guy that, again, they could bring back on the practice squad. We've seen it before with a guy like Antonio Williams who looked good and then sat on the Bills practice squad until he got his opportunity with Brian Daboll and the New York Giants. So the rest of them, I didn't see a lot of big surprises anywhere on the cuts that they made. We'll see what they do. I think maybe a guy like Tanner Gentry, he's got a connection to Josh Allen, could get a spot on the practice squad. Greg Mance, a guy with a lot of experience as a backup center. Van Rotenmoor getting the opportunity. I think he's been able to stay healthier, but let's see what ends up happening. And then I think you guys already know. I think Matt Barkley will have a spot on the practice squad. I think that makes sense. You're not going to keep him on the active roster. There's no reason to, with Case Keenum as the backup to Josh Allen. But I think that would be the case, excuse me for a second there, to have a third quarterback in that case. Mike Love, this is a perpetual thing with him. I think they like him for what he brings to the team. Let's see what they can do with him. And then there's some other players who I believe, as you look at their roster, you say maybe they would make a move to bring them back. But that practice squad is going to be wide open. There's a lot of times they're looking for certain positions too. I'm also going to tell you this. I believe they're going to be looking at that waiver wire for a veteran corner. I think that can happen. That's why we always talk about this being a fluid situation with this 53-man roster. So that is one spot. And I tweeted this earlier today. Jack Anderson is a guard that Brandon Beane drafted in the 7th round in 2021. When he got let go, it was the Philadelphia Eagles who picked him up. And they have Jeff Stoutland as their offensive line coach, maybe the best in the league. Anderson, maybe a numbers guy, didn't make it on the Eagles. I've been reading that they want to bring him back to the practice squad. Not surprising. But it could be the kind of guy that the Bills take a shot at. Brandon Beane liked him, wanted to bring him back last year, and it didn't happen. They'd have to try to bring him back and put him on the active roster. But he is a guard. He's got size. He's got ability. And he looked pretty good at camp. So I think the rest of it, it's kind of what we expected to see. Like we said, O.J. Howard, a lot of people thought he was still going to make it. That's not going to be the case. The two guys on offense with Hodgins and certainly with Blackshear, who performed well, they are looking likely to try to bring them back. And then the Matt Barkley one, I think, is a kind of easy decision. Let's see what else they do after the 24 hours for the practice squad. But again, I'm going to tell you, keep an eye out for a veteran cornerback as they put Trey White on that PUP list. You're not going to see him for a while. You're going to need guys to be able to back up these young guys that are playing and also protect yourself in case of injury. So just a quick update on what we saw so far on the 53-man roster. We'll keep you updated. Make sure you keep checking out what's going on the Buffalo Plus channel on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Jenna made me say that. So for now, for Mike Catalano for Buffalo Plus, we'll check you out the next time on the Buffalo Plus channel on YouTube.